Hello students, today in this video we are going to see the explanation of chapter 6, the making of a scientist. So let's talk about the making of a scientist, written by Robert W. Peterson. This is the story of Richard H. Ebright. Let's talk about the author, Robert W. Peterson. He was born in 1925 in Warren, Pennsylvania, and he was died on February 11, 2006. He was an American newspaper writer who later became a freelance author of magazine articles and books, especially on the topics of sports and scoutings. The Making of a Scientist by Robert W. Peterson. So here Richard Ebright has received the Cyril Scholar Award and the Sketching Plough Award for biochemistry and molecular biology. It was his fascination of butterflies that opened the world of science to him. So let's directly talk about the text and let's see the first line of the first stanza. At the age of 22, a former scout of the year excited the scientific world with a new theory of how cells work. So here in this line, the author has said that Richard H. Ebright, along with his roommates, surprised the world at the young age of 22 when they explained the theory on how cells work in a paper published. Right? So that was his big achievement. Richard H. Ebright and his college roommates explained the theory in an article in the Proceedings of National Academy of Science. This proceeding here means that that is a published report to set a meetings or a conference, and let's see, it is given here in the short form and the expanded form also, PNAS. So that is Proceedings of National Academy of Science of the United States of America. So here what happened, that everyone was surprised with the theory, and when this theory was published in the Proceeding of National Academy of Science, this valuable magazine has published the work of college students for the first time. It was the first time this important scientific journal had ever published the work of college students. So that was a big achievement, that whatever the achievement was, whatever the theory was, that has been published by this PNAS. Right, the scientific journal that they have published. That this journal here means a newspaper or the magazine that deals with a particular subject or the professional activity. Right, so it was a very big achievement for Richard H. Ebright. In sports, that would be like making the big league, groups of sports clubs or teams playing matches among themselves at the age of 15 and hitting a home run your first time at bat. So as we have discussed, that this publishing of this theory was a very big achievement for Richard. So he says that all this curiosity started with the butterflies. Right, and Ebright grew up in Pennsylvania and was the only child of his parents, and he couldn't have done much there as there were very less people living there. And he says that he could only do one thing alone, that was collecting the things, as he had no friends to play football or baseball with. So that's why he began to collect the butterflies. Let's see, for Richard Ebright, it was the first in a long string of achievement in the science and other fields, and it all started with butterflies. So that's why he said, because he had no other friends to play, so that's why he had started collecting the butterflies. An only child, Ebright grew up in the north of Reading, Pennsylvania. There wasn't much I could do there, he said. So he said because he grew up in Pennsylvania and only child of his parents, so he could not have done much, and that's why he said that he had kept him busy in collection of the butterflies. I certainly couldn't play football or baseball with the team of one, but there was one thing I could do, that is the collect things. So he had begun collecting the butterflies, the rocks, the fossils and the coins from the time when he was in the kindergarten, in his KG class. So he did, and he ever beginning in the kindergarten, Ebright collected butterflies with the same determination that has marked all the achievements. So he also used to keep on collecting all these things, these activities. He had started collecting butterflies, rocks, fossils and all that. So he kept him busy like this. He also collected rocks, fossils, coins, and he became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all the nights. So he also tells us that the whole night, right, instead of playing football and all that, because he had no other friends there, so he had starting collecting the things like butterflies, fossils, coins, etc. But with that, beside that, he started staring at the stars and sometimes the whole night, as he was interested in studying astronomy too. So like this, he kept him busy. He also collected rocks, fossils and coins. He became an eager astronomer too, sometimes stargazing all the nights. This line has been repeated. From the first, he had a driving curiosity along with a bright mind. He also had a mother who has encouraged his interest in learning. So curiosity means what? Eagerness, right? So what he's saying that Ebright had always been curious to learn about the new things and had a sharp mind also. And his mother used to encourage him to learn all these things, the new ideas of learning she used to give her, and she helped him a lot. She took him on the trips, bought him telescopes, microscopes, cameras, mounting materials and other equipments, and helped him in many other ways. So he said that my mother, she used to take him on the learning trips, used to buy him telescopes and other instruments that would help him in learning new things, and his mother actually helped him in many ways. I was his only companion until he started school, his mother said. After that, I would bring him home friends for him. So what the mother said, his mother was the only companion, only friend until he went to school, she said. And when he started going to school, his mother would get his friends home. And how? In the form of what? Different tools, different books, the cameras, the different telescopes and things, she said here. So, but at night, we just did things together. Richie was my whole life after his father died when Richie was in 3rd grade. So, Richie is a nickname of Richard. So what the mother said here, that when he started going to school, so she would get his friends to the home, and he and his mother used to stay together at night, and they used to do and learn the things together. And Ebright, who was nicknamed as Richie by his mother, was her whole life and support system after his father died when he was in the 3rd grade only. So his father died at that time. Only mother was only one, the mother was only the friend of Richie that time. Next, she and her son spent almost every evening at the dining room. If he didn't have things to do, I found work for him. Not physical work, but learning things, his mother said. He liked it. He wanted to learn. So as every mother, she also helped Richie here, and they used to spend most of the evening together. And she's saying that if Richie did not have any work to do, so she would find him some task for learning, and that used to like learning work that his mother used to give him, that was he wanted to do learning about more and more new things. So he was a bright student, as he used to score very good in the classroom. Okay, so the mother's role was great in Richie's life here. And learn he did. He earned top grades in the school on everything he had. He was just like every other kid, his mother said. So what the mother, she added that whatever she helped her, whatever she could do, and the result of that thing was that Ebright had become a very bright student, and he used to score good in the class, and also was regular in his daily task. By the time he was in the second grade, Ebright had collected all 25 species of butterflies found around his hometown. So, it is written here that when he was in second class, Richie, so he had collected all the 25 species of the butterflies that were found in his neighborhood, and the list of that is those all butterflies has been given to us. Right. So, you can see that from your textbook also, that he has collected 25 species of the butterflies till he was in second class. You must see how curious, how eager he was. That probably would have been the end of my butterfly collecting, he said, but when my mother got me a children's book called me The Travels of Monarch 10. So, he said that he thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection, because whatever was there in his hometown, whatever the species in his hometown, he has collected almost all. So, he thought that it would have been the end of his butterfly collection too. And if he is adding that if his mother would have not got him a children's book called The Travels of Monarch 10, so he could not do further. He could not take further interest in that. So, his mother helped him a lot. That book, which told how monarch butterflies migrate to Central America, opened the world of science to eager younger collectors. So, Richard said that book, which was gifted by my mother, The Travel of Monarch 10. So, that book told how the monarch butterflies migrated to Central America, which was the turning point of the Ebrights, as it turned his curiosity towards science. Earlier he thought, okay, he has collected all the species in his hometown, so he will not do further collection of the butterflies. But this book helped him a lot. At the end of the book, readers were invited to help study butterflies migration. They were asked to tag butterflies for research by Dr. Frederick Urquhart of University of Toronto, Canada. So, here in this book, the Monarch 10. So, what it is given at the end of the this children book, that is that his mother had got him, the readers of the books, they were invited to help the study of the butterfly migrations, and they were asked to tag the butterflies by Dr. Frederick Urquhart of the University of Toronto in Canada. So, Ebright's mother wrote to Dr. Urquhart, and soon Ebright was attaching light adhesive tags to wings of monarchs. Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send the tag to Urquhart. This adhesive means what? Adhesive is which is able to stick fast to the surface of some object. We can say that the sticky strips, right? So, that type of strips he started to paste. So what is written in that he did? Why? Because this is given in that, in the end of that book, that they should do, the readers should do that. So they were asked to take butterflies by the doctor Frederick A. Urquhart of University of Toronto, Canada, and Richie's mother wrote to the doctor, means the same doctor, Dr. Frederick, and soon he was attaching adhesive tags to the wings of the butterflies, right? So what was written? Anyone who found a tagged butterfly was asked to send. And what was written on that slips? That the person who would find a butterfly with the tag was asked to send the tag to Dr. Urquhart. So it was written in that slip also. In all the time I did it, he laughed. Only 2 butterflies I had tagged were recaptured, and they were not more than 75 miles from where I lived. So what happened after that, right? When he started sticking the adhesive stickers to the wings of butterflies, so what happened? The butterfly collection season lasted for around 6 weeks only, and he said whatever the collection he has done, one by one he has able to do many butterflies and all that. So actually the answer, right, he got that only the 2 butterflies were caught, recaptured, and that was sent to Dr. Urquhart. Then in the 7th grade he got a hint of what real science is when he entered a country reason science fair and lost. So what happened here? So as Richard said that he was not getting much interest and not much response in that collection of the tagging butterflies and recapturing of the butterflies. So he said that out of that many butterflies that he had tagged, he got only 2 butterflies recaptured, and those 2 were not more than 75 miles away from where he lived, means they have covered only the distance of 75 miles. So again, then he in the 7th grade he got a hint of what real science, and when he entered a country reason fair and lost. So after that what he did? He was not satisfied with this adhesive and all that. So when he was in 7th class, he came to know that real science was as he lost at a country science fair. So he started to take part in the science fair and he lost there. Now it was really a sad feeling to sit there and not get anything while everybody else had won something, Ebright said. So here also he said that this was very difficult, this was very sad feeling for him to see that the other participants who are winning something and he did not win anything, right? So this was very by this he became very depressed and very sad. His entry was slides of frog tissues which he showed under a microscope. He realized that winners had tried to do the real experiments, not simply make a neat display. So what he described there, what he found there, he was very upset, right? And what he did there, what experiment, why he was taking, what was his model and all that. So he showed the frog tissues slides under the microscope, but realized that all the winners had actually tried to perform an experiment and not just make a neat display out of their projects. Only they are not showing, actually they were telling something very interesting. So that's why they were getting the prizes for their projects, right? So he got the curiosity from there, and then let's see what he started. Already the competitive spirit that drives Richard Ebright was appearing. I knew that for the next year's fair I would have to do a real experiment, he said. So he took a lesson there in that first fair, and then he had already started developing the competitive spirit actually inside him. Now he had decided that he would be making a real project for the next year's fair, and he thought and realized that he had maximum knowledge of this whatever the experiment he is going to do. For that he has to get the maximum knowledge about that particular subject, right, where he is going to deal with for the next year project. The subject I knew most about was the insects work I would been doing the past several years. So for his next year project, what he decided, because he was very much interested in collecting the insects, like we have studied that he was collecting the butterflies and all that. So what he thought for the next year project, that he would do his research on different insects and all that. So he would get the maximum knowledge about the subjects of the insects, as he has been studying them for quite a long time, right? So there he wanted to take the help of someone who is very expert. So let's see to whom he asked. So he wrote to Dr. Urquhart for ideas, and back came a stack of suggestions for experiments. Those kept Ebright busy all through high school and led to prize projects in the county. County means a region, the international science fairs. So he wanted to get the idea, so he wrote to Dr. Urquhart. And who is this Urquhart? Who was called for that adhesive slips and all that, the researches, and the monarch of butterfly stings, the writer of that, right? So he Dr. Urquhart for ideas. So he wrote, means Richard wrote to Dr. Urquhart for the ideas, and he sent back a lot of ideas for his next year's project. So he remained busy with all those ideas throughout his high school and won many prizes, right? And next, for his 8th grade project, Ebright tried to find the cause of viral disease that kills nearly all the monarch caterpillars every few years. Ebright thought the disease might be carried by a beetle. So when he was in his 8th class, he tried to find the cause of a viral disease that killed nearly all monarchs, right, and caterpillars every few years. Means the monarch caterpillars we are talking about here. So monarch is what? It's a species of butterflies. So in his 8th class project, he tried to find out that what is the cause of the viral disease that killed nearby all the monarch caterpillars every few years. And Ebright thought that the disease was being transmitted through the beetles. So he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles, because he thought that the cause of the death of the monarch butterfly caterpillars can be the presence of beetles. So he tried raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles. I didn't get any real result, he said, but I went ahead and showed that I had tried that experiment. This time I won. So what he said, that when he thought that this is the transmitted disease with the beetles, so he started raising caterpillars in the presence of beetles, and it was of no use. But when he showed that he had tried such an experiment, so he won something for his project, because his idea worked somehow, and the people who were arranging that fair and all that, they were somehow took interest in his project, that it may happen that maybe the reason of the death of the monarch butterflies. So this year when he was in class 8th, he won for this project. The next year, his science fair project was testing the theory that Viceroy butterflies copy monarchs. The theory was the Viceroys look like monarchs because monarchs don't taste good to birds. Now in your picture here you can see 2 butterflies. One is monarch butterfly and the second one is Viceroy butterflies. So for his next class, means when he was in 9th class, so that time he tried the theory that the Viceroy butterflies copy monarch butterflies, right? So he went with that idea. He put forward the theory that Viceroy butterflies look like monarchs because monarchs do not taste good to the birds and birds like to eat Viceroys only. So that is also, he searched that also. That, please listen that once again, that what is the theory he forwarded, that the viceroy butterflies, this viceroy and monarch, both are the different species, right? But he thought, he gave that idea that the viceroy butterflies look like monarch butterflies because monarch do not taste good to the birds, and birds like to eat only the viceroys, viceroy butterfly, right? So viceroys on the other hand do taste good to birds. So the more they look like monarchs, the less likely they are become a bird's dinner. So the more the viceroy looked like the monarch, the less likely it was viceroys would be eaten by the birds because of their same appearance. He wanted to show that. So he wanted to show his project that that would a bird eat monarchs or not, right? Means in his this 9th class project he wanted to show that. What was his question, what was his what was his search this time, what was his query that time through that project, that he wanted to show in his project that would a bird eat monarch or not. Ebright's project was to see whether in fact birds would eat monarchs. He found that starling is a word, common European word with background spotted plumage with nests near building, and it is a good mimic, would not eat ordinary bird food. So he found that the starling bird would prefer eating a monarch only, right? So he wanted to show that it would eat all the monarchs it could get. Ebright said later research by other people showed that viceroys probably do copy the monarch. This project was played first in the geology division and third overall in the county science fair. So what happened up to here, when he found that out, when he wanted to show his project that would a bird eat monarch or not. So he found out that the starling bird would prefer eating a monarch, and later research showed that the viceroys copies the monarch butterflies. So this project won him the first division in the geology department and the third overall position in the county science fair. So